Hi, students. Good evening, everyone. So I believe my voice is also audible and the screen is also visible from my end. I believe it's also clear from your end as well. Students, can I get a confirmation from you all in the chat box if you are able to get that clearly, students? Can I quickly get a confirmation from you all in the chat box if you are fine with that? My voice and the screen visibility. Excellent. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you very much, everyone. So students, today we are focusing on the part 2 of the SWOT analysis. In the part 2 of the SWOT analysis, what we are effectively planning to do is the application of Happywell, how they are analyzing their strengths and weaknesses. Now, in the previous class, we went through the current issues, what is happening in the environment, and also we went through the organizational structures, the business model as well. Now, students, if you don't mind, let's start analyzing Happywell as well, so that the internal analysis will be extremely stronger for the finance manager. So let's start working. Now, Happywell's was founded in 1970. And I believe this as a common point of view that the majority has written that. Nothing to worry about that. When foreign package holidays started to become popular in Westland, previously most families were unable to afford foreign holidays and their holidays in the seaside tourist resort in the bedside. So they never went for a foreign trip. They went generally for a national trip within Westland. In other words, we can say it's an internal tourist industry. Happywell's founders started by chartering 2 flights. Now, students, if you observe, one thing you have to understand, they initially started with how many flights, students? They initially started with 2 flights, if I'm not mistaken. But now, students, if I'm not mistaken, how many flights they do have? They do have around 97 flights, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm going to write down here, they initially started with 2 charter flights, but now they do have 97. Again, understand it very well. They started with 2, and now what is the range, students? It has come to 97. So that is a good point of view. Later we can take it out. And they are saying booking blocks of rooms in popular foreign holiday resort. So initially they never owned anything, but they initially started booking the blocks. The company sold package holidays comprising flights from Central City Metropolitan Airport, transfers from the resort airports, and half-board holiday accommodation. So effectively, they are telling this practically in this case. So this was the initial point of view. They never had a huge scale of operations. So this is what they are effectively stating. So one thing, students, I can just write down in the strength. Since Happywell has started from organic growth, look at the term I'm using, students, organic growth, they have a very strong commercial awareness. Correct, no, students? Yes or no? Now, if you are going with inorganic growth, then only there will be some problem. But when you are going purely based on organic growth, there won't be much problem. Students, can I quickly get a double Y in the chat box if you understood that point of view? Because it's organic growth, if I'm not mistaken. So I'll write down here 2 charter flights. 2, if I'm not mistaken, students, it went to 97 flights today, if I'm not mistaken. So that is one greatest achievement this organization has made. Now, students, this was a major point which was missing in everyone's answer. The boom in the foreign package holidays was fueled by deregulation of air travel in Westland. Now, I'll just speak to Dr. Sharmin. Dr. Sharmin, what does this sentence means? Deregulation of air travel in Westland. What does that means? Any idea? Anything that?
The regulation was more flexible compared to before. The
Excellent.
regulation was not strict anymore.
Correct. Excellent. That means that's the point of view. Students, is this a political risk? Doctor, do you think is this a political risk? Can the regulation come back? Possibility there or not
Definitely.
there?
Definitely
Definitely,
depends
right?
on the strategy of the organization and the country.
Correct. So students, if I'm not mistaken, can I just write down a threat? Now, the stability, where they started booming was the deregulation. Now, students, if you look at country like India, 1990s to 1995, it was purely regulated country, only national products. And then after 1990s only, the deregulation started. And I think even Bangladesh experienced the same thing, doctor. Correct, no, doctor? Because 1970s to 2000, I think it was purely regulated industry. Agree, no, doctor, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
And
people were
in the
not going out much. Yeah.
out much industries was purely controlled by the government. Correct, no, doctor,
People
if
used to
I'm not mistaken.
nationally travel. But
Nationally travel.
that was also rare. Maybe like
Correct.
once in 5 years, something like that.
Correct. Now, students, I have to tell you a case study of Sri Lanka. Now, what happens is currently Sri Lanka has become bankrupt on dollars. So now the government is starting regulations on all industries. Because the biggest reason why Sri Lanka ended up in bankruptcy is too much of multinational companies and very few national companies. Now, if you ask any national in Sri Lanka, they will never buy a national vehicle. They will never buy a national anything. Nothing is bought nationally. So what happens is whatever the people are earning is going out of the country. So now the regulations have started. So I'll write down here the air travel industry. The air travel industry can be regulated as well. So I'll write down here major threat. Now, students, I'll just write a note below this because the main success for our organization is this. Because when they started deregulation only, our company became very much successful, if I'm not mistaken. So I'll write down here for Happywell, the success emerged from the time of what students? From the time of deregulation. From the time of what students? Deregulation. From the time of deregulation. I believe everyone got this very, very clearly, students. Since in the past, the airline industry, if I'm not mistaken, I can say the air travel industry has more compliances. Students understand it very, 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 very well because this is one of the major reason behind this. So can I get a double Y in the chat box, students? If you get this point of view, students, anytime a regulation can come in your exams. One question will be there. Just get prepared for one question in the examination. Government starting regulating the air travel industry. And effectively, they are telling charter flights have a limit. You can't fly charter flights as you want. There will be a limit. So understand it very, very well. That is very, very important, students, in order to make sure that you are very strong in that application point of view. Excellent. Thank you very much, students. Now, students, let's move forward. Happywell was not only an operator to enter this market. Many tour operators failed because high operating costs. Now, students, I will come to that operating cost also, because students, if you generally observe, the biggest cost for us is the overheads of the cabin crews. Correct, no, doctor, if I'm not mistaken. Because in every flight, we need to have at least 4 cabin crews and a pilot, if I'm not mistaken. I will reconfirm that once again. But frankly, understand it very well, students. These cabin crews, these pilots, everyone is a fixed cost. Agree, no, students, practically speaking. Happywell succeeded concentrating on the quality of its holiday packages and of its customer support as well. The company continues to provide customers with good quality experience. Its holidays are regarded as offering value for money. Even though they have not necessarily the cheapest, the passenger numbers has grown steadily despite of availability of cheaper tour operators. So that means although there are a lot of cheaper tour operators, but still we are able to succeed in the market. The only reason is value. And how did we create value? Very simple: convenience at affordable price. Convenience. Understand it very well, students. Convenience, not cheap, at affordable price. Again, understand the term here, at affordable price. I'll tell you a basic example, students. You may be knowing a mobile phone called OnePlus. Now, if you see, OnePlus is something like our company, because OnePlus is affordable and actually it's a good phone, affordable phone. And although there are a lot of competitors who are giving mobile phones at a lower price, OnePlus has always sustained its position in the market. So students, can I quickly get a confirmation from you all in the chat box if you are clear with this, students? Can I quickly get a confirmation? Excellent, excellent, everyone. So students, one thing, I told you there is a topic called CGMA cost transformation. So I'm going to write down here CGMA cost transformation model, CGMA cost transformation model. Now, students, you have to make sure you are able to get this out properly. I will also guide you with that, but just remember these topics as important things. So I'll write down one weakness, students. Increase in the operating cost. Increase in the operating cost. Students, one of the biggest challenge is we are exposed to seasonal demand. So you need to have cash, because students, when we are at the off season, we need to somewhat manage it properly. So that is one important thing. And students, one thing I have to be very transparent here. The passengers are in what, students? The passengers are in what, students? Millions. The passengers are in millions, students. Understand it very well. So effectively, at today's point of view, we are very close to 12 million. I can say 11.8 million, likewise, it's my point of view. We are having that number of passengers at the moment. And one positive thing I can generally observe is our country is doing very well. At the moment, there is no recession. So do you feel, students, this is upward linear? At the moment, it's upward linear. But students, in the examination, there are situations, students, that can end up in downward linear as well. Students, just for your point of view, can you do a small research on something called metaverse? Students, I believe you'd have understood this metaverse. Metaverse is a digital universe. Again, understand it very well, students. Metaverse is what, students? Metaverse is a digital universe that is being created in the digital world. And frankly, if metaverse emerges, there will be a drop in the demand also, because people will be able to access another world, which is from their homes as well. So that is one point of view. Okay, now coming back, Happywell now flies to 32 airports and Westland to 83 destinations. So Westland, do you think it's a small country or a bigger country, students? It's a huge country, because how many airports they do have at the moment? 32 airports. So I can effectively say Westland is something like Canada. Can I get a confirmation from your students? It's something like Canada, huge country. And it's having always cold climate. And summer is there, but not the good summer, if I'm not mistaken. So 83 destinations, and how many countries? 28 countries at the moment. And a question mark here, they have not mentioned what are these 28 countries. At least the geographical segmentation is not there. So now example, students, if you, just for your understanding, Asia. If they're traveling to Asia, doctor, just a question. Do we need to give better security for our travelers? What do you think, doctor? Considering a developed country, people traveling to a developing country, what is your point of view, doctor?
Yeah, it might mean higher insurance.
Yeah, higher insurance, students, because it's very different, right? So they need to get it in Africa, or another point of view, Africa. These country students, if they are traveling from a developed country to these countries, I'm not saying anything wrong with that, but in the practical point of view, the insurance must be a little bit better. All Happywell holiday destinations are located. Now here's the point here. How many hours, students? 5 hours time from their departure airport. So students, this is one of their main success of them. Within 5 hours, they can do it. Now, there can be a new segment emerging in your examination. Can we have long flight journeys like 12 hours journey, 8 hours journey? Is it possible, students? 10 hours journey, transit journeys, can that also come into the picture in the examination? Yes or no? Definitely. So I'll write down here one thing, long distance can come. Long distance can come. Long distance can come. Long distance can come. Agree, no, students? Practically, a person who is traveling every time for these 28 countries, which is very 5 hours distance, they will sometimes feel boring also. So they need to have a long distance. So can I write down a weakness if I'm not mistaken? Generally, the standard time for the destinations between 28 countries, are only how much students? 5 hours. Only 5 hours. That is one point of view on the weakness, because they have 1970s they have established. So that is one thing. So I'll write an opportunity so that it will be very clear for the students. The flight duration can increase. The flight duration can increase as well. Since the market is huge. And there can be differentiation, and there can be differentiation as well. Students, this can be a potential question in the examination. Can you just make a note about that, students? Because in the industry, they told there are 8 hours journey, but we are only offering 5 hours journey till date. Can I quickly get a confirmation from you all in the chat box if you are clear with that point of view, students? If you are clear with that point of view, excellent. Thank you very much, students. Thank you very much. Now, students, coming to the booking process. Now, can you remember, I told you, if I'm not mistaken, students, this Dream Sky. Can you remember, students? I told you, you have to remember this website called Dream Sky, because the beauty of this website is tailored packages are getting offered. But if you observe, we are having only 28 destinations. So, doctor, are we having a pure tailored one? No, we don't have a pure tailored one at the moment. We are only having a limited scope of 28. Just remember that point of view, because these are the potentials that can be coming in your examination. And as a finance manager, not only the numbers, you should be also be able to think about the application as well. Okay, now students, let's come to the booking process. Happywell is only major tour operator to provide customers with the option of booking holiday through a retail shop. Now, students, look at the verb they are using. Only what, students? Only what, students? Only what, students? Major. So can I say this is a core strength? Because pensioners, do you think pensioners prefer going to the retail operator store? What do you think, doctor? Yes or no? Practically speaking, yes, right? Yeah. So students understand it very, very well. In developed countries, the old people age is very high, very high. They don't die easily. They live for a long time. So in this case, I'm going to write down a small note so that it will be clear. The only major tour operator, only major tour operator to provide holidays through what? Retail shops. Holidays through what? Retail shops. So I can write down here, pensioners can be a cash cow. Correct, no, students? Yes or no? Correct, no, students? Pensioners, they pay a lot of money because they have a lot of wealth, in simple language, and they like to travel because they do not have any other commitments. So that is a good point of view, I can generally say. Now, students, Happywell has 311 shops in, I can say, Westland. So 311 retail shops, we have already mentioned that. Now, I will come to that point of view also, covering most towns and the cities. Each shops are staffed by travel advisors who have been trained to advise customers to manage the booking process. So there is a special employee category called travel advisors. And I think they are the marketing people, which is important. The first point of contact is them. Again, just remember one thing, students. Many businesses fail only one reason. If their first point of contact is horrible, business fail. Correct, no, doctor? Yes or no? Agree, no, doctor? If the
Yes.
first point of contact. So students, can
Impression
I write down
matters.
here? Impression matters, first point of contact. So students, this is a very, very important strategic point. But in HR, we don't have anything specifically to these travel advisors. No internal controls, nothing like that. And remember one thing, students, first point of control. If you are going to start your own business, remember that CEO is not the important person in the organization. The first point of contact is the most important person in the organization. Very, very critical. Just remember that, students, who have been trained to advise customers and to manage the booking process. Travel advisors also receive generous staff discount. So they can offer advice based on their experience on traveling holiday Happywell packages. Now, they have staff discount. That means they have the autonomy to give discount. Now, the problem is, can this end up in overselling and less profit? Possible or not possible, students? Yes or no? Overselling, but no profit. That means you are giving more and more discounts and the profitability is very less. Can I get a confirmation from you all in the chat box, students? If you
Sir,
got
I have a
that
question
point.
here.
Yes, please.
Is it the travel advisors being allowed to provide discount, or they are getting discount on their personal travels?
No. Travel advisors also receive a generous staff discount so that they can offer advice based on the experiences of traveling on Happywell packages. I think you are correct. Sorry, you are correct. So they are getting a discount. That means they can travel. So they are getting a discount. Sorry, on behalf of that. Thank you, doctor. So they get the discount. So they are eligible to travel. So they can tell the places where they are traveling. That's a good point of view. So that's a good point. That's a good point, I can say. The shop sells only Happywell packages. The shop will only sell what, students? Happywell packages once again. So they are only selling Happywell packages at the moment. And the shops take 35% of the bookings and the remaining 65% are through company website. Now, students, I have to make a note here. Now, the website can also be transformed into a students, a mobile application also. So just remember that we may have a project to develop a mobile application in the future, which has been designed to be attractive and easy to use. Customers can browse through all the packages that are available and they can simplify their search by inputting many variables as they wish from the following. So departure of the airport, departure date, duration, type of the hotel, type of the resort, maximum price, and the location. Now, if you see in this, they are giving only the core factors. But my question is insurance. Doctor, have they mentioned insurance explicitly in this? Insurance?
No,
right?
because it's a third-party service.
It's a third-party service. I completely agree with you. Now, students, the other problem is it is a third-party service. I completely agree. But the issue is they also need to somewhat mention about this insurance factor. Because if you remember, students, we have something called Westlandian tour operator license. Can you remember, students, if I'm not mistaken? So that is one more factor to be considered at the moment. Maybe they are giving it as a variable, maybe. So students, I am going to summarize this into our SWOT analysis so that it will be better. 65% sales are online. That is a good site, and 35% is through retail. Now, one thing, doctor, in this case, I can specifically say there can be a situation of closure of retail stores. Possible or not possible? Closure of retail
Very much
stores.
possible.
Very much possible. And redundancy. So students, understand it very, very well. The digitalization is taking place slowly, and effectively there are chances of these taking place. So I will write down here IFRS 5, that is known as non-current asset held for sale and discontinued operation. Please have a look about that, students. That's there. And there is another standard called IAS 37, which is known as the provision standard. You have to have an idea about that also for your understanding. Now, students, another thing is travel advisors are used to communicate and advise. So I will write down here within inverted comma, first point of contact. First point of what, students? First point of what, students? Contact. Very important. First point of contact. Very important. Even if you are investing more on these people, it is not going as a waste, because they are the first point of what, students? Contact. Understand it very well. The first point of contact is them. I believe everyone is technically clear with that. And I really appreciate their generous travel discount for them, for the travel advisors. That's a very good point I can generally say. So students, can I quickly get a confirmation from you all in the chat box if you are clear with that point of view, students, because these are very important points that you have to keep in mind. And don't worry about this, you will find it very easy when we are going through in detail. Now, students, this I have to go in detail, this section, because this is an area where we study something called pricing. Students, there is an area called pricing. So I will teach you that. Don't worry, students. There's an area called what, students? Pricing. Because not the theoretical aspect, you have to be practical aspect of pricing. And I have to say one thing, students. I'm going to highlight this entire paragraph so that you will understand this entire thing. I'm going to highlight it. Very important. So students, if you don't mind, I will write down in our SWOT analysis, if you don't mind. I'll mention here page 13. Page what, students? Page 13. Refer the highlighted section. On pricing. On what, students? On pricing. Students, because this is the basement. Your passing or failing depends on how much you have absorbed this knowledge. How much you have absorbed this knowledge will determine whether you pass or you fail, because it is the critical point, because you are the finance manager. And as a finance manager, you need to be able to understand the situation very effectively and practically as well. So students, can we move on to this? Of course. Booking processes use statistical models to price each holidays individually. So statistical models, again, understand the terminologies they are using. What model is this, students? Statistical models, statistical model. And students, we effectively say the statistical model pricing is also known as surge pricing. This strategy is known as what, students? Surge pricing. If you don't mind, can you please write it down? Surge pricing. Actually, students, this happens if you have observed, like Uber. Uber is a surge pricing model, because sometimes the prices will be going up, going down, and very rarely you find the standard amount of price everywhere. So students, can I quickly get a double Y in the chat box if you are clear with that point of view of surge pricing? Excellent. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Now, students, let's detailedly discuss this. For each holidays individually, taking account of demand and availability to maximize the revenue. So demand and revenue is the total they are going to the demand. So it is a model driven by the demand, and it is automated as well. Families with school-age children may be unable to travel outside of school holidays. So it may be cheaper to book holidays during the school terms when the demand is what students, 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 low. Now students, during the school terms, the prices are cheaper. So students, if I'm not mistaken, can I write down a specific area? If I'm not mistaken, pricing model. I'm going to write down a specific area, and the name of that specific area is what students? Pricing model. So understand it very well, because as a finance manager, you need to understand our company's pricing model. Because if we are going for another country also, these factors are important, international expansion or anything. So students, I'll write down here, statistical model for pricing. I'll write it down, statistical model for what students? Pricing. And it is based on the demand multiplied by revenue potential. Revenue what students? Potential. Revenue potential. That gives you the total revenue, total revenue, total revenue, total revenue. So I believe that is very, very clear for the students at the moment. Okay, now students, if I'm not mistaken, let's continue this. So I'll write down here school term period. Demand is less. Therefore, cheaper to travel, cheaper to travel, cheaper to travel. So within bracket students, can I write down one very, very important point of view? Off season. What is that students? Off season. Now I'm coming to the next one. Prices increase at hotels when they get close capacity on certain dates and decrease when there is a spare capacity. So another point of view is hotel occupancy also plays a very critical role on price. Hotel occupancy rates. Okay, so high occupancy, high price. Positive, I can say correlation. High occupancy, high price. And low occupancy, what students? Low price. High occupancy, high price. Low occupancy, what students? Low occupancy, low price. Students, I believe everyone is practically clear at the moment. There is nothing to be worried at the moment. So pricing can be affected by timing of the booking. Okay, so it is sometimes possible to make savings by booking late, close to the departure, because tour operators might otherwise left with unsold capacity. Now that is a risk also. So I'll write down here, last minute bookings can have a price cut, because sometimes it is going at a spare, you can get it done. And then they are saying booking late can, however, have a risk of limited availability. So it may be necessary to pay more as well in the customers. Sometimes more needs to be paid as well. So I'm just summarizing this pricing model. It will be effective later when we compare the other factors. Demand is seasonal. The height of the summer season. Happywell flights and hotels are often full. So I'll write down here next one. Height of the summer season. Height of what students? Summer season. Height of summer season. Height of summer season. So I'll just mention that practical point of view. Height of summer season. And the bookings are high, so the price is high. So the price is high. Students, can I get a confirmation from you all in the chat box? Of course, that is also practical. And they are telling that there is a less demand during winter. Less demand during winter. Less demand during what, students? Winter. Although most of the resorts served by the company have pleasant weather even during winter month. And so there is a demand for winter breaks as well. It remains cost effective for holidays throughout the year, even though flights and hotels will not be at full capacity during the winter. Customers, now I'll come to the payment model. Customers are required to pay 10% deposit, 10% deposit at the booking. At the booking, that is one more point of view. and to make a final payment at least 2 weeks before the departure. So 2 weeks before the departure, final payment can be made. That is also very practical. Customers wishing to travel within 2 weeks of the booking must pay in full immediately. That is very practical. Happywell's booking procedures and IT systems are designed to maximize revenue from each booking. Shop staffs and company website are designed to upsell by offering number of paid extras for the booking. So revenue maximization and paying more as well. And they are giving flight upgrades. So I'll write down here because this is a very, very important point. So I'll write down here, flight upgrades, flight what students? Upgrades, flight upgrades. That is very important. And then better flight upgrade, better what students? Hotel rooms. You can go at the last moment. Dining options. So I'll write down here, better dining what students options, better dining options. And then taxi transfers, taxi what students? Transfers as well. So the procedure has also allow for cross-selling, offering additional products such as provided by Happywell itself that are third party, travel insurance, car hire, parking at departure, leisure facilities, and trips and other activities around the leisure. So these are the main factors to be considered. And I will finish this off. When the customers are booking either online or in Happywell shop, they are required to select a flight, transfer, and the hotel before they are given the total price. Happywell system determines the price that will be charged for each element by withhold that information from the customer. When customer decide to proceed with the booking, then they are offered a range of upgrades for their flight, transfer, and hotel, along with additional products such as travel insurance. Happywell has a long-standing arrangement with Cover, a major independent provider of travel insurance. Students, I'm going to highlight this person's name. A long-standing relation. There can be a situation of you are starting your own insurance company, or there is an option to go to another insurance company. There are complaints about Tourco can come. The prices, upgrades as stated are added to the total package. So I'll write down here one weakness. I'll write down here Cover is the only insurance provider, is the only insurance service what students? Provider, only insurance service provider. Therefore, high risk in case of poor standards, in case of what students? Poor standards. Can I get a confirmation from you all in the chat box? If it is fine, excellent. Thank you very much. Now, students, before I go to the aircraft and hotels, I am now going to come to the pricing model. So the common sense can work. Now, doctor, I have a very, very transparent question. Now, if you see, doctor, during off-season time, still we are having 97 flights. Correct, no, doctor? Yes or no?
Yes.
Practically, yes. And during off-season time, we have 314 hotels also. Correct, no, doctor? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, round.
What is the alternative things that we can do? What do you think, doctor? Because I think that is eating our cash flows, if I'm not mistaken. Because customers are there or not there, still you have to pay the money for the expenses. Correct, no, students, if I'm not mistaken. So students, if I am not mistaken, I will just write down a potential examination question that can come, or a trigger, 125 marks question can come. So I'll write down here potential question. How can Happywell utilize the spare capacity during the off season? That is the biggest challenge that we have. So students, I'll put this as a question mark. Frankly, I will give you a lot of questions also in this. But did you understand this is the biggest challenge for us? This is the biggest challenge for us, if I'm not mistaken. Can I get a confirmation from you, student? Yeah, excellent. Thank you very much, students. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Now, students, coming to the next one, aircraft. Happywell owns fleet of 97 Speed, Comfort, and 411 aircraft. The brand is this, students. The brand is this Speed, Comfort, 411 aircraft. Just remember this, students. Owns. Look at the term here, students. Owns. So there is a bigger question on the maintenance. So can I write down here maintenance? Yes or no? Can you all remember there was an article they mentioned about hangars? Can you all remember, students? Yes or no? We also have a hangar, correct? If I'm not mistaken, but you have to be very, very careful. There is a huge maintenance cost for us. Huge maintenance cost for us. This aircraft can carry 210 passengers and has the range to reach the destination served by Happywell. So at the moment, yeah, only in one airport. Now at the moment, this flight can go to the range what they are offering. So the range is how many hours journey, students? 5 hours journey. Correct, no, students? Now, doctor, there will be a question in the examination, a proposal to go for an 8 hours journey. You understand what I'm saying, doctor? Yes or no?
Yes.
Now, in that case, majority of the students will be writing the data again, but only a finance manager will tell in that particular situation, if we are going for an 8 hours journey, do we need to upgrade our fleet of airplanes? Yes or no? Of course, right? Correct, no, students? If I'm not mistaken. So students, if you don't mind, can you just make a note about this, students? Because currently our 97 is able to give 5 hours journey. But if we are going for an 8 hours journey, students, there will be a bigger question mark. And also, doctor, can you remember there was that tailored tourism? Can you remember that, doctor? Tailored
Yes.
tourism. Now, for tailored tourism, this flight cannot be utilized. Why? Because this has a capacity of how many passengers?
210.
210 passengers. So for tailored package, do you need to have even smaller type of charter flights? Very small one, yes or no? Definitely. So students, can you just make a note about this, students? Because think like a finance manager. Don't just study the pre-seen material. Think about what can come in the examination. So students, can I just write down a weakness if I'm not mistaken? I'll write down here 97 Speed Comfort, 97 Speed Comfort, 411, the brand aircraft can only serve how much students? Can only serve how much students? 5 hours journey. 5 hours journey. Therefore, there is a challenge. There is what, students? A challenge that in case if we are updating for long distance, for long what, students? Distance, is it possible? Is it what, students? Possible? Question mark. And also, I'll just mention, and also tailored packages will be challenging. Tailored packages will be challenging. Correct, no, students? If I'm not mistaken, can I quickly get a confirmation from you all in the chat box if you are able to understand this application properly, students? Can I quickly get a confirmation from you all in the chat box if you don't mind? Thank you very much, students. Thank you very much, students. Excellent. So students, now if I'm not mistaken, now let's start analyzing that. Now this is a potential question, and the common sense is this. This is what the finance manager should be aware of. Even when carrying a full load passengers and their luggage, using a single model aircraft simplifies operation because any Happywell place can be flown by any of the pilots. Cabin crews are also interchangeable because they are all are qualified to operate 411. Maintenance is almost efficient because all engineers are trained on this model, and it is unnecessary to hold inventories of parts for different aircraft. So, doctor, this is their current strength in simple language, standardization. But the changes in the trend, do you need to have a huge, I can say, restructuring for this? Of course, right? Students, you understand what I'm saying there. They are very much over dependent on this flight. And they have standardized it, and they're overconfident also that their staffs are highly specialized labor. So the biggest problem of specialized labor is what, students? They will be having a bigger issue when there is a change management. Correct? No, students, can I write down one thing called change management? Students, can there be a change management issue? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Change management. So I'll write down here change management. Use practical data. Use practical data. Don't just write down this. This is a real practical point of view, change management. Use practical data as much as possible, students, because it is very critical, very important as well. So students, if you don't mind, we can continue more in detail. The aircraft and their crews are based on their departure airports in the Westland. Each aircraft is scheduled to make 2 return flights per day. Outbound flights carry departing passengers who are starting their holidays, and the inbound flights carrying the return passengers on their journey home. Each aircraft has 3 crews, each comprising of 2 pilots and 4 members of cabin crews. Each round trip requires a fresh crew, and a spare creates a capacity to crew rest and flexibility in the event of crew member absence. Now, students, if you observe, this is a very important sentence because this is highly technical, I can say, because our HR. So can I write down here, one of the biggest issue is our HR is a overall HR they have given. But doctor, do you need to have a specialized HR function for these staffs? What do you think, doctor? Because
yes,
impression matters, safety matters, and also students' regulations also matters. So this is one important thing, if I'm not mistaken. So I'll write down here one point of view. HR is general. HR is general for Happywell. But for this function of aircraft, the HR needs to be very focused, being very open to you, students, very focused on the staff well-being, Staff well-being is extremely important, student, because students, if you have been traveling, you would have seen they invest a lot of social intelligence, emotional intelligence for the cabin crews and the staffs, because these jobs are highly patient-based job. You have to have the ability to be very patient when you're doing these works. Each aircraft is subject to careful check before each flight. There is also an opportunity to conduct maintenance and repair overnight for each aircraft return and second flight of the day. Aircrafts are taken out of service on regular interval to undertake more significant checks and maintenance at Happywell's engineering hangar at the Weevil Airport. Students, at what airport, students? Weevil Airport. So they have one hangar. So maintenance at Weevil Airport. So I'll write down here as a good strength or a good mechanical, they'll write down here. Weevil Airport. Weevil Airport. A strength to have maintenance of flight. Maintenance of flights. Very important. Weevil is a large airport in the Westland that is used for passenger flights by many airlines, including Happywell's as well. So one thing, doctor, can you remember, they are telling this aircraft operation is a cost center. Correct, no, doctor, if I'm not mistaken? Yes or no? Correct?
Yeah.
Now, what is the biggest challenge is they won't invest on the cabin crews. They will do cost cutting for cabin crews. Can that be a situation? Yes or no?
If
like
it's a cost center,
everything.
yes.
Yeah. So is that affecting their quality? Correct, no, doctor, if I'm not
It
mistaken?
might affect the quality.
So it might affect the quality. So can I write down here, students, very, very important conflict of interest. So I'll write down here cost center. What is that, students? Cost center. What is that, students? Cost center. And I'll just write down within brackets, it's a conflict of what, students? Conflict of what, students? Interest. Agree, no, students? Because this is one of the point of contact where the people must get some pleasure. They need to get some good impression when they are traveling also. And another thing, if I'm not mistaken, hotels. Now, again, doctor, is hotels also considered as a cost center? Yes or no?
It is, but it is strange.
It is strange, right? But at the moment they're considering now these are the finance manager you have to think, students. Now, flights are considered as cost center. Hotels are considered as cost center. So what is the value the customer will get? Because if these things are considered as cost centers, their KPIs will be purely based on cost minimization. Correct, no, students? Yes or no? Now, cost transformation. So the motivation factor will be different considering increasing of valuation. So 100% sure there will be a transition. So can I write down a potential scenario in the examination, students? It will be very, very important. So 100% sure responsibility center will come. T2. Students, please be thorough with responsibility center. I'll help you. Can come. Since the classifications are very the classification of aircraft and hotels as cost centers are having conflict of interest, are having what, students? Conflict of interest to the company. Can I quickly get a confirmation from you all in the chat box, students, if you are fine with this understanding? Can I quickly get a double Y in the chat box? Excellent. Thank you very much, students.
Sir,
thank you. Thank you.
It's the aviation department, not aircraft only.
Correct. So the aviation department means entire thing, right, doctor, if I'm not mistaken?
Not only the aircraft, aviation, it's not the plane only, it's the entire department, which includes the
entire
airport.
Department.
Airport also.
Airport as well. Airport also, right?
Yeah,
so
it's the aviation
effectively you are
department.
correct. Yeah, aviation department. So this is a part of aviation department. Correct, no, doctor, if I'm not mistaken. The aircraft is a part of aviation department. So the biggest problem that we are facing is, doctor, when this is purely on a cost center point of view, pilots. Now they are saying this is again, see, doctor, visibly clear. No? Cabin crews are also interchangeable because they are all qualified to operate one. 411. Can you remember that? So is that an indirect indication that they are using the same stuff for other functions? Correct, no, doctor, if I'm not
the
mistaken.
pilots and the cabin crews are same.
Correct.
Can
Correct.
be same
and
if
maintenance
required.
yeah. So students, that is one factor to be considered, because we don't know how another player in the market can emerge better than us. So this is one question also to be considered. And the next thing, hotels. Now coming to the hotel, students, Happywell owns how many hotels? 314 hotels. It's a big number, correct, no, students? That is spread across 83 resorts that the company serves. Now, a biggest challenge is off-season. That is the biggest challenge, off-season. How are we going to utilize the cost? Correct, no, students? Yes or no? That's a practical question. These hotels are designed to offer good quality accommodation and enjoyable hotel experiences. Customers choose their hotel and the type of room at the time of the booking. It is possible to specify a hotel that is close to a beach, that is equipped with swimming pool or a gym. It is also possible to specify the rooms, that balcony and a private terrace. Customers are encouraged to book early in case they preferred hotel and room type that is fully booked for the date when they wish to travel. So effectively, they are telling the preferences here. So that is nothing towards here. That is general offering that is given by the organization. The choice of accommodation has a significant impact on the total cost of the package holiday. Happywell sets higher prices for hotels that offer better facilities and more comfortable room. It also charges more for nicer rooms. Prices reflect availability which helps maximize occupancy rates because customers will pay less for hotels and types that are less popular. So again, students, again, they are asking prices are based on the availability only. And they charge based on the facilities also. Now, doctor, I have a question. Can you remember we have something called tailored package? Correct, no, doctor, if I'm not mistaken. Yes or no?
We don't
Tailored
have
package.
tailored package,
No,
but
in
there
the
are
industry,
other.
in the industry,
Yeah.
in the industry, in the
Yeah.
industry, there is tailored package. So in the industry, when there is tailored package, if the hotels what we are offering is very costly, can there be a situation, a shift in the demand, where if you observe a person who is traveling, they will always not stay inside the hotel long time. Correct, no, doctor, if I'm not mistaken. They will be
Yeah.
traveling a lot outside the hotel. So can there be a situation that people may choose only airlines from our part and slowly they will go for a hotel from another? Now, the problem that the customer has is currently hotel airlines should be booked together. Correct, no, doctor, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
But in the examination, can there be a situation where flexibility comes? Hotel flexibility is there, flight flexibility is there, and destination flexibility is there, and effectively all these three is affordable. Can that come, doctor? Because Dream Sky is not affordable at the moment. Correct, no, doctor? It's very expensive. But due to the development of technology, can there be a situation, a new party is emerging with these facilities? Possible or not possible? High level
Very much possible.
possibility. So students, can I write down one more thing? A new entrant, a new entrant, a new entrant, a new entrant offering flexibility in flights, hotel, and destination as per the budget. This can be a disruption. This can be what, students? A disruption to Happywell. This can happen. Students, remember that very, very well. What happened to Jet Airways? They closed down in India. Main reason SpiceJet came. They told you can travel at a very lower price. If you like to have luxury, you can pay more. If you don't like to have luxury also, that's fine. So that's how impact it can happen. Students, can I get a double Y in the chat box if you understand the impact that can happen in the examination? Because you have to be well prepared and keep your mind very stronger so that you will be able to connect it properly. So hotels also provide meals specified in each customer booking. Customer often eat most of their meals at their hotel, so quality of the food and the ambience of the restaurants can be important factor in ensuring a pleasant stay. Now, students, one thing I can generally say, can there be quality issues, doctor? Is there a possibility of quality issues in the food? Possible, no, doctor? Yes or no? Because can you all remember, it was having an organizational structure where we have resort managers, if I'm not mistaken, or hotel managers. Did we have a director who is specialized in the hotel? No, right, doctor, if I'm not mistaken? No. We are having an operations guy who is one person and who is a general operational person. So students, that's a bigger risk we will be facing, because now I think you have understood this is an integrated type of business. So always better to have an integral point of view of separating the roles. In simple language, we call it as segregation of duty in simple language. So segregation of duty is essential in our industry. So that is one more thing. Some hotels offer shows and entertainment. This can range from children activities, from family friends hotel stage for adults in the evening as well. Entertainment can enhance customer holidays. It also encourages them to stay in the hotel and spend money on snacks and drinks. Now here they mention some hotels. That means of our base are offering. A hotel provides facilities for tour reps to meet the customers, usually the hotel reception area. There's a daily schedule to in each hotel So the customers, when a rep will be available, customers often address any complaints to the rep and expect them to provide a solution. Now, the problem here is they are mentioning it to the rep. Now, doctor, can there be a chance the rep is hiding the customer complaint? Possibility there or not there, doctor? Yes or no? What about the transparency? The customer complaint transparency with a question mark. So students, remember that managing performance, this can come also. For example, customers might be unhappy of their accommodation and feel that they are not receive facilities that they paid for the book. Reps are trained to deal with customer complaints with practical problems that can arise on holidays. Again, HR is very important on supervision. Do you have a supervision for these reps? Happywell requires its reps to develop good knowledge in their resort. That ensures that they can offer informed recommendation about, example, local restaurants or location of the best beaches. It also gives reps an opportunity to cross-sell activities such as visit theme park, earn revenue commissions for Happywell. Now, students, can you remember the first person I told you was travel advisors? Can you remember, students? Travel advisors were one of the key employees in our industry. And can I say the second key employees in our industry is whom, students? Reps. Reps are very important. Correct or not correct, students? Yes or no? Very important for Happywells. Agree, no, students? Now, we do not have any motivation factors. Do we have any motivation factors, performance targets, anything given for the reps? So can I write down within brackets, students, motivational factors? Can I write down balance scorecard, students? Can we write down here balance scorecard? Can there be a balance scorecard? Chances are there. So can I write down here balance scorecard, students? Can I quickly get a confirmation from you all in the chat box if you are able to understand that point of view properly, students? So reps are very, 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 very important. Without reps, it's very difficult for us to operate. Now the transfers. Now students face local coach and taxi companies to provide transfers to and from the airport. This is an important part of holiday because travel can often be stressful and use of competent contractors is important. Now students, can you remember the term competent contractors? Now, when I see this, one thing that is reflecting in my mind is CIMA code of ethics. Doctor, can there be a situation there is no transparency and you are giving contractors based on their familiarity? That means how much they are known to you rather than how much their quality. Can that happen? Like one of the directors' wife is operating a travel industry, so you are directly giving to them. So students understand that very, very well. So I'll write down one
transactions.
Excellent, excellent. So students, can I write down here, if I'm not mistaken, a point here, the travel operators. So the travel operators are generally having an issue, regarding competency. Regarding what, students? Competency, regarding competency, and transparency on the selection, So I will effectively mention here, students, IAS 24, that is related party disclosure, related party transaction disclosure, because it's a very, very important area. And I'll write down here CIMA code of ethics. CIMA code of what, students? Ethics. Very, very important point of view. And then Happywell reps meet incoming flights and direct arrival from their coach or taxi. Reps usually ride on each coach using the journey time to brief the customer on the important information relating their resorts and the procedure of the arrival at their hotel. Reps are accompanied by coach loads of departing customer back to the airport, offering advice about checking in their return flights. Reps maintain records of arriving, departing customers to ensure everyone is accounted for. It's important that all customers are collected upon arrival and departure. Now, one of the things is reps. The reps are very, very, very critical And one thing, students, in case of an accident, I think that is one factor to be considered. So I'll write down here one point of view. In case of a road accident, in case of a road accident, who is responsible? Who is what, students? Responsible? Question mark. In case of a road accident, who is responsible? A very good question. Keep that in mind. Now, students, customer feedback. Now, this is very, very important, but the biggest problem is at the moment the feedback goes to the reps. So that is one issue. Now, one more thing, doctor, have you observed now in Google, all they have something called the ratings, online ratings, yes or no, students. Now,
Yes,
can there
something
be
like
social,
Trustpilot.
of course, can there be social media publicity, negative publicity? Can that happen, students? Videos circulating, possible or not possible? High
Very
possible,
possible.
right? Very much possible considering the today's environment the world is operating. Happywells collect detailed feedback from customers at the conclusion of their holidays. Customers are emailed a link to an online survey that seeks customers' opinion about every aspect of their holiday, starting with the booking process and ending with their return flight home. The board is taken to identify any problem and address them quickly as possible. Ideally, customers will have a good reason to make repeat booking with Happywell. It's also important to minimize number of unhappy customers who might post negative reviews on holidays and social media. So proactive technique. Now, the problem is follow-up. Now, doctor, did they give anything relating to the follow-up? Now, one of the important thing of customer rating is follow-up. Correct me if I'm wrong, doctor. Yes or no? Can I
Yeah,
quickly get a, yeah, correct
you
my students.
reply to their
Follow-up is
comments.
correct. You reply to the comment and how soon you take action also matters,
Yeah.
if I'm not mistaken. So students, I'll just write down here one of the weakness, if I'm not mistaken, so that it will be very clear. Customer feedback is good. Customer feedback is good, but the biggest challenge is transparency on follow-up. Transparency on what, students? Transparency of what, students? Follow-up. Whether the customers are getting the response on time, and actions are taken. Actions are what, students? Taken. So students, can I quickly get a confirmation from you all in the chat box if you are able to understand this point of view properly? Now, doctor, whatever said and done, complaints people will only be attracted only the actions you are doing. Correct, no, doctor? If I'm not mistaken, yes or no?
Yes.
How quickly you take the expenses. So feedbacks are analyzed with the following concern: ease of booking, flight including experiences in the airport, transfers, hotel broken down by accommodation, food, meals, reception, any entertainments, and the reps. Feedback also is required on the holiday package as a whole, including the offered value for money and the overall enjoyment. Now, students, if you see, doctor, I'm asking you an exam standard question. Let's assume I am your finance director. I'm asking you a question, doctor. Let's do it for all the class. Doctor is the representative. Others can give the comments in the chat box. What are the improvements we can make to our current feedback? Can you give me around 3 bullet points on the feedback metrics?
One could be a point on areas of improvement.
Specifically, now areas on improvement is a general, correct, no, doctor? These guys won't write also, practically speaking. They won't write. I'm telling on this specifically what we can do.
Like from the bullet points you have, right? What addition could we make? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah. What additions we could make? 3, if you can give, it will be great. One addition is insurance. Correct, no, doctor? Yes or no? It may be a third party, but still we are the people who had recommended them. Agree or not agree, doctor? Yes or no?
Yeah.
So insurance is purely missing here, students. Can I get a double Y in the chat box if you got that point of view, students? Because insurance is missing. Because one of the biggest challenge for the travelers is the insurance quality. Can I quickly get a confirmation from you all in the chat box, students, if you are able to understand that point of view properly? Insurance is one important factor. And then after the insurance, if I'm not mistaken, what is the next factor that we can consider? Think properly, students. What is the next factor we can consider? One is the insurance, and the other factors that we can consider, if I'm not
Transfers are already
transfers
there.
is mentioned,
Already there.
already mentioned. Reps are already mentioned.
What
Insurance
about
is a
the
very
other experiences, like, the ones that reps are selling?
yeah. So can I write down here sightseeing? Correct, no, doctor, if I'm not mistaken. The
Yeah.
areas what was shown,
Sightseeing and
that was
experiences and activities.
sightseeing experiences and activity. That is one more important thing, no, students, if I'm not mistaken, because they're traveling for the beach area, they have to get the sightseeing experiences, insurance, all those factors are there. And the other thing that we can consider very much importantly in order to ensure that we are able to do properly is insurance, sightseeing experiences.
Well, I can just think of one thing that I see on feedback forms, like, would you recommend us?
Excellent. Referrals. Thank you. Excellent. A referral, right, doctor, if I'm not mistaken? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Yes. And students, one thing we can mention is, how did you get to know about us? Can that be one thing, doctor?
Yeah,
Yes
yeah,
or
we
no?
do see that, yes.
Get to know about us, because that is one more thing. Students, can I get a double Y in the chat box if you understood what will be management case study exam? Already data, what you know, they will try to modify that. They will ask you to modify that. Like real company students, if you have worked in a company, you will know the role of the employees today is not more operational, more creativity, more easiness, how you simplify the things. So that is very, very important factor. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So students, now I have to come to the next point of view. Now, doctor and everyone in the classroom, this is industry analysis. I will do the industry analysis on the Saturday class, and then I will go for the ratio analysis. Is that fine, students? Because
Sure.
internal analysis is over, and I will have another class on the industry analysis. And then we will go on this, and we will finish this successfully without any issues as well. So students, just an overall point of view, I just want to take a small recap of this so that it will be very easy. So a very strong SWOT analysis has been done at the moment. And one more strength we have is our gearing ratio is around 28%, something like that. 26 or 28%. Correct, no, doctor, if I'm not mistaken. Not highly geared company.
No, that's for Mango's here.
Okay.
If I'm not
What
wrong.
about for us? One minute, I just calculated. Gearing 27 for our company. 18 is for Mangoes. We are anyway higher than Mangoes, like you are saying. But 27 is fine, no, doctor, because Mangoes doesn't have own hotels. Correct, no, doctor, if I'm not mistaken. But
yeah,
we have own hotels. So we have collaterals. Correct, no, doctor, if I'm not mistaken, considering Mangoes. So because of that, we would have been able to get that debt leverage also. And according to the practical point of view, if the taxes are deductible in the point of view, you can go for a tax claim when you have loan because interest is tax deductible. So that is a positive point of view. But if we are going exceeding that, that will become a negative point. But that's what the point here. So students, don't worry. Now we are in the introduction stage. We are just getting used conditions to the situation. But remember one thing, we only have one portfolio of aeroplane. So it will be very difficult for us when there is a new range of product offerings we are giving. That will be a bigger challenge for us. So I'll just go for a one-to-one discussion. Asanka, any questions for the day? Mr. Asanka, any questions for the day? If you are fine with that, you can please put Y in the chat box. If you have any questions, you can ask. Thank you. Mr. Linon, any questions for the day? Mr. Mohammed Ferdos, any questions for the day?
No, sir, it's okay.
Not
Thank
today.
you. Thank you, Mr. Lennon. Dr. Sharmin, any questions for the day?
No, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Team Maniuma, any questions for the day? Any questions for the day? No. So students, just excuse me for one more day because I want to do the industry analysis with you all, and then we can go for ratios. Just take a printout of this if possible, especially the blue color one, the pricing model, very, very important. So I will meet you up in the next class so that it will be very, very easy for you. And students, just give me 1 minute of your time, just 1 minute of your time. A quick study tip I have to give you so that your life will become extremely, extremely easy at the end of the day. Just give me 1 minute time. Okay. Students, now if you observe what I have mentioned, I'll just give you a quick way of studying it very easy. So okay, students, look at ChatGPT. Doctor, can you quickly see the ChatGPT? Can I get a confirmation from you?
Yes, sir. I can see it.
Cost. I'll just mention like the easy way to study, students, CGMA cost transformation model. For, I'll write down here, hotel industry. Doctor, how do you see everything is getting automated? Can you feel it, doctor?
Very much.
Students, your case study answers, students. What you are going to write? So can I get a double Y in the confirmation, students? This time you must pass, students, because no excuse. This is free software you can use to study. You can pass, students. Easily you can pass, students. Just take a piece of paper, write it down. Everything is done. Just to give you even more confidence level, can I write down here? IAS 24 related party transaction for cab contracts.
We will no longer need any books.
Students, don't fail, students. I am telling you, you must not fail. Passing is like guaranteed. You must pass, students. If you did not pass, one reason you are lazy, because things have become such like easy, students. Are you understanding? Can I get a double Y if you are okay with this, students? Quickly, can I get a double Y, students? Your writing skills will improve when you start reading this. Effectively, you will improve your skills. And frankly, students, I'm very happy that things have become automated day by day. It's improving our productivity and you can experience it. Now, there is option called regenerate. If you don't like this, you can ask for another response. So thank you, students, for your time. I will meet you up in the next class on Saturday. Take care, students. Good night, everyone.
Thank you, sir. Good night.
Good night. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.